bring Ursula to the stage from Benefit Cosmetics, and we're going to be talking about TikTok, TikTok Shop, and TikTok live shopping. And I don't know from a brand point of view. Welcome, Ursula. Hello, if you put your clap as you come up. Sorry, I'm like so excited I keep talking. So we saw earlier when TikTok was talking that a huge number of people in the room have TikTok on their phones. Who has watched live shopping on TikTok? So fewer people. Has anyone actually bought anything through a live shopping stream yet? What have you bought? Squidgy toys. Okay. So I think everyone who's on TikTok has seen the kind of rise of live shopping and increasing numbers of people who are sort of not brand owners actually, but kind of regular people selling things like, I mean, everyone here who's been talking about it's like bath bombs, there's mystery boxes, there's sweets, and toys seem to be being largely sold on TikTok. And I was like, I need to find an actual brand who's looking at TikTok Shop and has some data about what can we expect from it. And Ursula and I have known each other for some time, and you said, you that Benefit Cosmetics, which is the second largest beauty brand in the world, is it?
So,
is that on?
Is that on?
Just talk again, let's check.
Hello?
Yes, it's on, yeah.
Wasn't holding it close enough. So in the UK, we are the UK #1 prestige cosmetic brand. So yeah, we are big in the UK.
Yeah, a huge brand in the UK and a huge brand globally. And Ursula said they were trying to answer the question of how much resource should they put into TikTok's live shopping.
Yeah.
And I was like, brilliant.
Yeah, so obviously it's a new social platform. As well as being a new retail platform. And we're very, very new in the space. From kind of like a live selling point of view, we have done things like that before via like QVC. So we have a little bit of knowledge in what it's like to sell through a screen. But with TikTok, it was a totally new platform. We launched on it a couple of years ago, but have just started to like gear that up. So as a social platform, it's very new to us. And then this year, we decided that we really wanted to go into live. We've been hearing a lot of great things from the market in China about how many people are shopping on lives. And it was something that we felt that it was just going to continue to grow. I think I was reading an article earlier today, actually, and it said that the amount of people in the UK who are starting to shop through social media is just growing exponentially year on year. So it felt like a really good time for us to get in there while it's still quite fresh and new and just kind of figure out what works and just take it from there. Yeah, so over the past 3 weeks or past few weeks, Benefit have been doing a series of tests on live shopping in order to kind of start to see what's going to happen. And it's like, is it going to be an overnight success? Is it going to be something you have to build into? Nobody knew those answers. So I was like, Ursula, come today and let's talk about the fact we have a new way of shopping, live shopping, a very big, well-known brand and something that's still new to you guys. So can you share with people how you're encouraged to think of new things, aren't you, in your role at Benefit? Yes. So the way that Benefit is set up is that we have a UK team who look after the UK market, and then we also have a global team that we are sometimes guided by and then sometimes kind of left to explore and innovate by ourselves. So it's a really great relationship. With the TikTok Live and the sort of like innovation side of it, we are the first market to be going live with that. So it's a great opportunity, but we don't have any knowledge and we don't have any sort of like data that we can look at to be like, this works, this doesn't work. I think Michael was talking about the hero products. Which was really interesting because one of the things that we have done is have a look at what is it that's trending on TikTok for us, because is it the same as what our hero products are within the market, or is it different? And it's somewhat the same, but also slightly different. The other thing that I would say about the shop is that while you can do the live selling, you can also just put products live and people can shop them in that way. I'm super new to TikTok, so I'm still exploring this and figuring it out as well. But you can, it's almost like a self-serve platform. You can just put all of your products live and people are able to shop them. So in terms of your views about why live shopping might work, because I think we're all really used to seeing trends that happen in America land here in the UK, and what we're not used to is seeing a trend that's like huge in China or the East, then
pick up in the same pace in the UK. But what were your views on what would happen with the live shopping trend and the British audience?
So I think for us, some of the things that we've seen so far, we've only done a couple of lives, and we've only been live on the shop for I think about a month. Yeah. Well, the actual products being on the feed and live has only been for a month. But from many of the indications that we're seeing through other social channels, the way that TikTok is growing and the live selling space just working so well previously from things that we've seen on like QVC, that kind of trend of selling through a screen, I think is really engaging for younger consumers who potentially not necessarily don't have the confidence, but they prefer that kind of interaction, but also from a safe distance. So they can interact through their kind of keyboards and learn about products, but they also don't have to go into a shop and have like a whole sit-down makeup tutorial. So it's a great platform for like our presenters to be able to get across what it is that the products are great for and how to use them and to sell the products in almost traditional shop kind of way, but also through this kind of DTC way as well. So it's that sweet spot between the physical and the digital, I would say. And then you see, obviously, with QVC, I mean, that's sustained itself for a very long time and still quite popular. So, yeah.
So so also just another thing I want to add is that TikTok for brands have actually given a huge amount of support in terms of incentivizing brands to come onto the platform and test it, which you guys have benefited from to some extent.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually really surprised by how supportive they were, because I know that there's the kind of ongoing joke about like Facebook
and how yeah.
So we were kind of expecting that same thing, but actually, you know, we have one single contact who's been supporting us through this, talking to us about lives. They've given us support for presenters and presenter training, and they also have a studio that we're able to use. If we want to, we can kind of book it out. And then from a marketing point of view, they've really guided us on ways to get it known within the platform that we're going to be doing a live and how to kind of navigate that. So it's still really, really early days, but so far we feel that it's very positive and it's showing really positive signs.
So let's share some of the results, because it's been, these are not, by the way, we're not about to unveil £1 million through a face. It's actually really interesting because the results are very much the same as an unknown brand would face in terms of going onto a platform, because it's been quite difficult even for you and for me to have actual stats, like how many people you're going to get. What are the conversions going to be like from a live feed? What happens on them? As in, we haven't found them. So what have some of the early results been for benefit?
So we have seen that with our first live we did, and bearing in mind we've done 3 so far, so overall I think we've had about 12 sales where we haven't done anything. People have just kind of found it on the shop and purchase. But then through lives, we've seen on the first one that we did that was totally a test and learn. We saw 3 sales. The following after that we saw 5, and then we did one last night where we did it in one of our Carnaby shops. It's like our flagship store. And we saw 10 sales, which amounted to, I think it was £250. So it's not...
So it's tiny for a brand like
small.
Benefit.
It's really small, but we really believe that it's going to be the place to shop. There's a lot of information about how big social selling will become in even like 4 years. So we just want to get in there, fail fast, learn really quickly, and figure out what our audience like, how to use this channel as a new sort of retail channel.
Because I think as well, people can be quite intimidated when they think, oh, I'm going to go live and all these big famous brands are going to be there. But yesterday, you guys were facing similar problems to what anyone else would face, which was showing up yesterday.
I think, it's everybody... I don't think it matters like how big your brand is or how small it is. I think everybody faces the same issues and kind of challenges when they do something new. The knowledge isn't there, so you have to like figure it out. Even from us kind of figuring out how to do promotions through the platform. Like that's all really new. And it has been great that we have had TikTok to guide us, but a lot of it is figuring it out yourself. And I guess every audience is different as well. We don't have, we do have the brand awareness, but I think getting people to do something that maybe they're not used to doing is always something that you're going to have to build upon. And we did see that when we did Instagram Lives as well, when we first started doing that. Even though we had lots of followers, not many people were starting to come over to the lives. But you build on that and you build on that. And it's about having that repetition and testing and learning as well. We're a really fun brand, which I feel lends itself quite well to the TikTok Lives. You can be quite dynamic. You don't have to be stiff. You can do silly things, silly challenges, which I feel is all about what TikTok as a creative platform is for. So yeah, we're just learning as much as we can. And I think in terms of sort of like KPIs and where it's heading, that is something that, while we don't have that information from TikTok right now, we are asking for it. If we don't get it, we will figure it out based on what we're seeing ourselves and measure against ourselves, with the idea that we will grow it.
Yeah, and you've said you see yourselves as a brand continuing to put resource into it right through to next year, right? That's it.
Yeah.
You're doing it now.
Yeah, exactly. It's something that we do believe is going to continue to grow, and we really want to be there at the beginning of it. So we are putting that resource in. But I would say as well, from an e-commerce standpoint, it's not super like heavy on resource. If you weren't doing the lives, for example, and you just wanted to have a TikTok shop, then you could do that. For any smaller brands, you can get your product feed live and almost use it as an affiliation platform as well. Like get some of the creators to be promoting your products for a percentage. There's a lot of opportunity there for very hands-off kind of work.
Great. So we've got enough time for a few questions, but before we come to that, what's your one piece of advice? Who's actually thinking about going live and doing a live shop? Okay, so quite a few people. So what's your...
Yeah,
what's a bit anxious about it?
What's the things that are holding you back or like kind of stopping you, I guess? Anyone?
Wait, Michael's got... Have you already gone live, Michael?
Wait for the microphone.
The topic of lives is also particularly interesting to me, and it's an amazing brand you're spearheading here, and it is really refreshing and so great to hear that the results are still very, very early and quite small in comparison to any of your other metrics.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're being honest with it is so refreshing. We also tried, and we had the live and the production and the planning, and seeing the 3 or 5 sales is so discouraging on one hand, but I feel just like you do that in 3 or 4 years' time, the mindset and the impulse ability to purchase is going to change drastically.
Yeah.
And being at the forefront of that is important. So my only comment on live is I think it's so relieving and refreshing to know that we're not the only ones. And congratulations
again. You know
again.
what, Michael? When we were first talking, and then Ursula said, well, we're about to do this test. And I was like, great, they'll have done their test. They're going to come and they're going to be like, yeah, we did like X number of units.
Yeah. I think just because you don't see the results straight away doesn't mean that that's not going to come. And actually, you've made a really good point. One of the great things that I haven't mentioned about retailing on social or through social platforms is that the checkout process is so much quicker than, for example, on a website. You can go, it's almost like the conversion from being talked to about a product to then converting is really, really quick, which is a real bonus, I think. And although we're not seeing those results right now, it has been a week since we've started doing the lives. So the more that we do that, and we are kind of dedicated to giving that a really good try and seeing what happens. Obviously, if it continues to not improve, then we'll take a view of it. But it seems like the audience is there, the interest is there, the conversions are happening. So it feels like it's a good kind of landscape for growing. Yeah.
Totally. So who else? Oh, go, Michael. Were you about to say something?
One very tiny comment, because we also are trying to figure out why it's happening at a much lower rate. And the answer is, although 99% of the people have Instagram and TikTok installed, I would bet 97% of the people don't have their payment details and card and address saved into the platform. Yeah. And that's the big difference when you compare it to this live shopping stuff in China. It happens on apps where people have their entire life connected to, and it's truly a one-tap experience, and here it isn't yet.
Yeah.
Thank you. How many times are you planning on doing lives a week or a month? Or are you doing certain times of the day? It'd be nice to know what you're focusing on.
Yeah, no, that is something that we are talking about. Like, what time of day do we do it? How do we test that? Is that, yeah? How do we test that? And how do we compare it? Because right now, we have very little to compare it to. So it is a little bit shooting in the dark kind of thing. I think our main goals at the moment are to figure out what the audience is enjoying through engagement, and then work on sort of like the conversion and what best time of day it is. Currently, we're doing it 5 to 7 p.m. and we're doing one tonight if anybody wanted to have a look and see how it goes. It's 5, I think it's either 5 or 5:30 until 7 p.m. So you can have a look and see all of the things. Like yesterday we did one and the Wi-Fi cut out at one point. So, you know, we're having all of these challenges that we're figuring out as we go along. But sorry, can you repeat your question for me? Because I want to make sure I answer
What time of day?
No, just how many times a week you're planning on doing.
How many times a week? Yeah. So we are going, I think ideally we want to be doing it 1 to 2 times a week. Some brands we've heard are doing it every day. Yeah. I don't think that we will be doing that, but maybe if it goes really well. So yeah, 1 to 2 times a week. But at the moment, we're doing it in bursts. So we did our kind of like 2 tests last week and the week before. This week, we're doing 3 in a row in the evening, just to kind of see how that goes. And then we will probably have a break and then do another one in about 2 weeks, and then so on and so forth. So yeah, it's not regular at the moment, which I know is one of the things that everyone always says, like, you should be consistent, you should be regular. And we are going to do that, but we're giving ourselves until January next year to kind of just figure everything out.
Thank you.
Did I see? Oh, yeah, there's quite a few more questions. Alex?
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen the live thing, and I'm just wondering what's the difference. Sorry. What's the difference between like QVC and live? Like what is, in a nutshell, what is live? What's different about it?
It's less polished. So it's very, very real. I could, for example, go live right now and start talking, and it wouldn't be seen as weird, or like it wouldn't need to be kind of as polished as QVC, for example. The other thing is that the checkout experience is totally different. So obviously when you're on the TV, you have to either go online or telephone to make an order. Whereas through TikTok, you create a basket and it's got loads of products in there that people can scroll through while you're live. You can talk about multiple things or one thing, and they can add to bag directly while they're still listening and watching you. It's more seamless, I would say.
Great, and we've got one more question, and then I know I'm getting held up the signs of time. Is it on?
I don't know. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I have bought from TikTok Shop and TikTok Live, but I think the one thing that draws people in is like offering this face cream for like £1 when it's like RRP is 27. So how will you overcome that? Is it something that, you know, you think people should do to initially get themselves started on live, or is it something that, you know, you should avoid and devalue?
That's a really great question.
Yeah, and can I just add to that on something, because it's really interesting in terms of who's presently on TikTok and how the same thing evolved in Facebook and Instagram years ago, where the first movers on there were kind of people who were affiliate marketers and knew, you know, people like Michael really, who just have been doing this stuff in all sorts of different niches for years. and they were doing drop shipping and sort of opportunistic product creation. And then the brands came along and all that lot sort of got moved aside. And I think that's what's happening on TikTok presently, is there's all those people who would historically have, you know, very great, good marketers and able to source products. And so we currently have a culture, which I think we've seen, of drop shipping mystery boxes, sort of discounted beauty products. And I think what will be interesting from my point of view is seeing how that evolves as more brands arrive. And probably what will happen is those people, a lot of them will just sort of be forced aside because there'll just be a natural evolution of brands and quality arriving on the platform. Katie's nodding, is that part of the approach? Is that... Yeah. Yeah, so what were you going to say in terms of...
I was just going to say that, that's a challenge for us because we are a prestige brand. So obviously you don't want to be seen as like discounting or offering that kind of really high promotional offers. TikTok is that at the moment, and I think it will continue to be that for a little while people get used to it. But once that kind of user adoption happens, I think it will slow down. For us specifically, we are looking at using acquisition kind of products. So, for example, we're not going to be discounting any of our like heroes or single products, but maybe we've got some promo kits where we have extra stock and they're old, so we can do it for quite a good deal. Or a beauty box that, you know, it can't be bought anywhere else and it's a really good saving price point. So we are doing things that appeal to that, but aren't as discounted, I would say, as TikTok generally is. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much. And Ursula's around, so if anyone wants to ask her any questions, grab her at the next break. But thank you so much,
Thank you.
Ursula.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us.